Aaron Judge is a better version of Brock Lesnar.
What is something you love as much as the Charmin Bears love wiping?
As an opposing fan, you'd probably see his face and want to sock him between the cracks. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Losses Above Replacement, the greatest baseball podcast. 2 great years. I'm today's host, Mathias Kurosaki, and with me, as always, are my 2 all-star candidates, Ryan Splash Potts and Alex Clark. Gentlemen, first things first, we're recording on a Thursday today. Obviously, yesterday with the World Cup, once every 4 years, we all decided to watch the U.S. yesterday, but how are we doing on this fine Thursday evening? And hello to Ralph and XYZ Balling.
Always good to see you both.
Are we bearing the lead on our internal mistake we made?
I mean, to be fair, I did think we had to bring it out, but yeah. I mean, we can call out Mac if we want to.
Yeah, we were actually going to record. We wanted to see if Reynaldo Lopez would have a good outing last night, so that's why we all stepped away to watch Reynaldo Lopez pitch a gem for the Braves. So.
True. See? One thing that was fun was that the Mariners did not hold a game yesterday because there was, I believe, a game at Lumen Field here or at Seattle Football Place. So I don't know if they can actually say Lumen Field for it. But no, honestly, it was fun to get to watch the game. Although I will say, and this is like probably the most ever soccer commentary I'm going to give in this game, the score does not indicate how much USA dominated that game. Like, yep. Anyone who watched it here, all I need to say is they put the ball in the net 4 times to 0.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I mean, yeah. Admittedly, I'm not like a crazy soccer fan during non-World Cup years, but like this year, it feels like I've been more invested in this World Cup more like than compared to the past ones. Maybe it's because it's on home soil this year, but yeah, I had a great time watching that yesterday, even with that red card.
That is questionable. Legitimately, that is now Angel Hernandez level of officiating on that one. Let's be honest.
I'm going to agree there. Also, it is approximately 700 degrees in New York today. So that was fun. Took the train home from my friend's place yesterday, and I was waiting on an outdoor platform. And it's blistering. But yeah, also, I hope you guys all have a good 4th of July weekend coming up. I know tomorrow is the work holiday. So I know like, today went into swim. Like, you know, the gym was all like decked out in the red, white, and blue for the campers because today would be like their day to celebrate at camp. And then tomorrow, everyone gets a day off, at least at the pool. Not me because I have to coach. But, you know, I go in and coach my guys for an hour. But yeah, other than that, baseball, never really heard of it.
What's that?
There's some other things going on in the sports world, but anyway, let's get to the baseball though. Yeah. We had 2 pretty significant moves made by teams, and you know, we got the Angels dismissing their general manager Perry Minasian, and the one that seemed a long time coming, but I wasn't really sure when it would happen. The Mets dismissed Carlos Mendoza. Both these moves happened within 24 hours of each other. I'm pretty sure. Actually, yeah, within like 24 hours of each other. I'm gonna start. Let's start with Mendoza here. Obviously the Mets have been struggling for most of the season. But after a while, it looked like, all right, Mendoza's on an expiring contract. They're probably not going to fire him. You know, they kept saying like, all right, they even gave him a vote of confidence earlier this season. Like they're not going to fire him. And it seems like everything reached a boiling point last week against the Cubs. The team got swept, played really sloppy ball. And Friday morning, they ultimately made the decision to cut ties with him. Andy Green is literally just an interim manager. He's the director of player development after the season. That's what he will be again. So I'm going to go to you guys first. What's your reaction here? Manager in his contract year, underperforming team, he gets let go. What's your guys' reaction?
So the first thing I want to kind of point out here is the vote of confidence. How long ago was that again?
In early May.
Yeah.
So about 6 weeks before he got fired.
We are recording this podcast on the 2nd of July. That confidence lasted long. But here's the main thing I have to take from this. He was hired in 2024, right? To then pilot that season, in which the team started out pretty horrendously. Then OMG happened, and they made it back to the playoffs. Then, also Grimace. But
and a number of things.
Exactly. But then 2025 happened, and the collapse that happened with the team legitimately was something that needed to be studied. Just how far it had ultimately fallen to not make it a playoff run. And I'm willing to bet it was at that moment, legitimately, when the gears were starting for his departure, which, again, I'm a Mariner fan. We normally see managers around for almost a decade here, even if they don't deserve to be. But I did not think
Lloyd McClendon disagrees, and Eric Wedge and Manny Acta.
Dude, we love Manny Acta in this household. All right,
I'm a Manny Acta guy too. Trust me.
Although to be fair, Perry Hill is the best night coach of the business. I refuse to take any other name. But regardless, for Mendoza here, last year was the big issue, right? Where you had all the talent in the world, you had all of these players, and did not get the job done. And you're like, okay, maybe there was a fluke. Maybe something went wrong. A baseball season is long and mistakes can happen. The big issue for me is that they gave the vote of confidence for him a month ago. And after that month, the team has not performed well. And we're going to say, that confidence, that was fake confidence. So you really just have to I kind of feel for the guy, honestly, because at this point, yeah, he does have a whole lot of talent, but that also isn't an excuse from how weird the team has played this year. Like, I understand that they've been doing a lot of very, let's just say, interesting decisions. Polanco at first base, Bobichette to third. But at what point do you just say, okay, everything is wrong, it's not the manager's fault, but most of the time we know the manager is going to be the scapegoat, right? That's just normally what happens in baseball. But I do think this is the right decision. Like, this is a team that right now has players like Juan Soto here, one of the best pure hitters that this game has ever seen here, although he cannot play any defense. But it's like you have this amalgamation of players, and you got to take advantage here. It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of mad at Dan Wilson as well. This is one of the best Mariner teams I've ever seen. And the fact that they are just right at the 500 mark is depressing. But sorry, not to make it about the Mariners, but just wanted to give a little extra insight onto it here.
By the way, XYZ balling, Tony V's going nowhere. Not until at least the end of the season.
So they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And therein lies the problem, I would say, with the Mets. And to a lesser degree, the Yankees, but the Yankees have such great stability with Cashman and Boone and the Steinbrenner family. So that's its own ball of worms. But with the Mets, you have such high variance. And we've seen with the Knicks, when you win, it is the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? You win in New York, it matters. Eli Manning won in New York twice. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Yankees, it's a who's who of baseball royalty. Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Jeter, Rivera, even A-Rod. But when you don't win, when Steve Cohen has a $400 million payroll and you have an all-star roster, you have just a cursory glance, like Francisco Alvarez, former top prospect, Mark Vientos, 2024 playoff hero, Marcus Semien has finished third in MVP, not once, not twice, but thrice. Bobichette, perennial all-star. Juan Soto gets compared to Ted Williams on the regular. Carson Bench, top 100 prospect. Francisco Lindor, probably going to be a Hall of Famer in short order. If not, he's the best shortstop, second best shortstop of his generation. Luis Robert, a Gold Glove level center fielder, a top prospect in his day. an all-star in his day. Jorge Polanco has been a good player at the big league level. Nolan McLean, everyone loves Nolan McLean. Everyone loves Nolan McLean. Freddie Peralta coming off a sub-3 ERA season. It's really unfortunate what happened to Clay Holmes. He was really good this season. Devin Williams, all-star level closer. A shout out to Huáscar Brazaban, by the way. But when you have this loaded team that we all picked to win the NL East this season, even I did, even Alex did, and of course Mac would. They were, at minimum co-favorites with Philadelphia and Atlanta to win the division. They were among the favorites to topple the Dodgers. And you have this sort of season. And someone has to be held accountable. You could argue it's David Stearns. There's pros and cons to what Stearns is doing. I think the minor league system is a lot better than it was when he got there. It feels like every 2 weeks, the Mets are calling up this unheralded prospect. McLean recently. You have AJ Ewing, who has provided something of a spark. Carson Benj, as I mentioned. Alvarez, he's only 24. Consider it. He's only 24. But you've had so much talent, and you're in New York. You have to win. And Carlos Mendoza did not win this year, and he did not win last year. The Mets were the best team in baseball through the end of May, something like that, and were one of the worst teams in baseball the rest of the season. And we're a game short of missing the playoffs. And had they made the playoffs and you just re-rack and you reset your brain, they have a shot to beat the Dodgers in a 3-game series. Who knows? They have the talent to beat the Dodgers. It's not like a foregone conclusion like it was with Cincinnati, but you have to have something special to work in New York. We've seen it with the Yankees. We've seen it with previous Mets managers. There's a reason the 86 team won. They had something special there. That was from everything I've read about and heard about and watched videos about, that was a special team full of special players. And they all pushed each other. And that was just a loaded team. They won 108 games, something like that, Mac?
Yeah.
And I think Mets teams of recent vintage, you have great players. There's the David Wrights of the world. Pedro Martinez pitched for your organization. Mike Piazza hit a lot of home runs for your organization. And it just did not coalesce all at the same time. 2015 was close. 2006 was close. They lost basically the World Series decider, Game 7 at home against the Cardinals. They would have mollywopped the Tigers that year. But when you have a team that talented, you need a manager who brings everyone together, gets them all pulling in the same direction. And a beef between Soto and Lindor, I don't know how real that is. If it is real, that's just not going to be productive for your team. You have to get someone in there that has the team pulling in the same direction, because you have an extraordinarily talented team. They have to work together and they have to get the best out of each other. Like Judge and Soto got the best out of each other. They finished first and third in MVP voting. They were unbelievable. And they go on a great playoff run and just run into a buzzsaw and they have all the errors and whatnot. So I don't know what's next for the Mets, but I thought Mendoza did a solid job. The vibes were good in 2024, and then they went off the rails in 25, and he never got to recover. And it's really a shame how much talent was wasted in Queens.
I mean, really, I have a lot of thoughts here. The Lindor Soto thing, it sounds like it's been ironed out. I'm not really sure the extent of how, what happened there. I know Soto is a much more reserved guy. So I know that they're very different people. But here's the whole thing is that, last year, they have this collapse, it's clear that they needed to change something up there. So they trade Nimmo for Marcus Semien. They trade Jeff McNeil to the A's. They let Pete Alonso walk. Those are 3 guys from that clubhouse out the door. You bring in veteran leaders like Marcus Semien and Jorge Polanco. You bring in Luis Robert to play center field. You trade for Freddie Peralta, who also is seen as kind of a leader, coming off this great year. You signed Bo Bichette, another guy, always well regarded in the clubhouse, coming off a great season. They literally fired the entire coaching staff, or they fired Hefner, they fired Eric Chavez. They let Antoine Richardson walk to the Braves. Like, they completely re-racked the pitching staff, or the coaching staff, except for Carlos Mendoza. And this thing is, this year, Soto and Lindor, those are 2 guys who you rely on to lead the team on and off the field. And this year, Soto gets hurt early in the season, a week into the season, he gets hurt. All right, so he's down for 2.5 weeks. They lose 12 games in a row without him. Then of course Soto comes back. What happens immediately? Lindor gets hurt. He's out for 2 months. And Will Salmon of The Athletic wrote a great article about this. How they're interviewing guys, and there was no real cohesion in the clubhouse. It seemed, throughout all these struggles. And your job as a manager, you have to, especially when your two like clubhouse leaders are hurt at various points, you have to be the guy who brings the team together. And it seems like he wasn't able to do that. And I'm not necessarily saying this was all his fault, but the reality is there's a common denominator between what happened last summer and what's happened this year. It's really disappointing. 2024 was awesome. You go from being 10 games under 500 to making the NLCS. You're 2 wins away from, making the World Series. But then again, you got to think about that year. I feel like one of the big turning points, obviously, was not just bringing up Jose Iglesias, but when they signed JD Martinez. JD Martinez, while he wasn't necessarily at his best on the field, he did a lot for that clubhouse. After 2024, they lost both those guys. Jesse Winker, also a very popular figure in that clubhouse, he got injured early in 2025. We never saw him again. Literally, I don't know what Jesse Winker's up to right now. But there have been all these changes, and there's injuries. Obviously, Holmes got hurt. He's probably out until August. Lindor got hurt for 2 months. Like I said, Soto got hurt. Robert's hurt. Polanco's hurt. Those are key players on this roster. Tyrone Taylor also got hurt at one point. There have been a lot of roster issues. But yeah, at a certain point, I mean, Mendoza was going to be held accountable. I know Steve Cohn even said yesterday it almost kind of felt like it was like a merciful release, because he, they probably weren't going to bring him back after this year, which again, that hurts to say, because in 2024 it sounded like he wasn't going anywhere for a while, and now he's gone 3 months before his contract expires. And here's my thing about Stearns, though, is that I feel like everyone's got all these fans clamoring to fire David Stearns. I don't know what that would accomplish, if I'm being completely honest, because when the Mets fired Mendoza, immediately you hear about all these managerial candidates and all that. If the Mets fire David Stearns, how many people? I mean, I ask, directing this at the Met fans in particular, can you name me a candidate to replace David Stearns? And I'll tell you one thing, there are not a lot of GM types out there who are just out there. Everyone knows their name. They're going to hire him. Like I knew who Billy Epler was, but that's because, he had been a GM previously. Like immediately with Mendoza fired, like, oh, maybe Albert Pujols, David Ross, like these guys are immediately thrown into the ring. But like, I know David Stearns did not do a perfect job building this roster, and he's been far from perfect overall during his Mets tenure, but I think firing him would be kind of counterproductive. But yeah, it's kind of a mess, really. And hopefully they're able to fix this. But Mendoza is not the only guy who lost his job this week. As I alluded to earlier, Perry Manazian also in the final. Yeah. What's up, Alex?
Yeah, real quick. Just was doing a little bit of side research here. Jesse Winker is still unsigned.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not with any team.
I'm surprised.
Right, yeah, I am too, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the last move that was officially made with Winker was the deal with the Mets. Here was on January 17, 2025, the 1 year, $8 million deal. Here, since then, he has not had any other deals and still remains a free agent.
Yeah, and by the way, that reminds me about the guys that David Stearns let walk. It's not like any of them would be really changing anything right now. Pete Alonso, while he's been productive, his numbers are down from last year. Brandon Nimmo just went on the IL. Edwin Diaz is on the IL. Jeff McNeil's been one of the worst players in baseball. So yeah. Also, yeah, I do hurt for Mendoza, man. It's I feel like he's taking the fall here for his roster. But anyway, like I was saying, yeah, Perry Manazian, the Angels. I guess this might have been building for a while here. fired as GM, again, 3 months before his contract was supposed to expire. And the Angels immediately installed John Mozeliak to run the team. Don't know how long they've had that in plan, but what are your guys' thoughts on this? The Angels dismissing Manassian midseason.
I'll go first on this one here, and I feel like the weirdest part about all of this here is the timing, because when you take a look, he started here in 2020. Here, that's when Manassian was first hired. Here, so right after the COVID season. Here, it was in November of 2020. 2021 and 2022 and 2023 are the next coming years, right? And there is a player that is on that baseball team that I think legitimately is probably one of the reasons why he's gone now. And that's Ohtani, obviously. Like, there was a lot of discourse about how to handle Ohtani. Heck, even us on this podcast, we're talking about what do the Angels do with Ohtani here, because you had a powder keg in your hands ready to go here, and you just let it all slip through your fingers. You got nothing back for the best player in baseball. And I want to know if that itself was led into this, or what I personally do kind of think here. I think there's another force at play here, and that force is Artie Moreno. Moreno here, I still think, is the main reason why they did not resign Ohtani. But I think when you take a look at what's been going on with this team here, I think that Manassian was just another scapegoat. Because, unfortunately, as much as we all, we know what the Angels are. We know what the Angels have been for the last several years here. And, unfortunately, it does come down to one name. It comes back all the way back to Artie Moreno. And again, this is the move of you fire the general manager because you can't fire the owner. That's where this entire team is at here. Manassian was, and again, a scapegoat that did not deserve this to happen, but also, to be fair, really wasn't doing much, but also didn't have much to work with either. Again, what did he have to work with, right? You had Taylor Ward, Mike Trout. Here you had Joe Adell, and there's a few guys that got traded, a few guys that didn't. But what are you supposed to do with this team? There's no way to make it really better. Here, you don't have enough of a prospect system to make the team better. Yeah, I don't anymore, unfortunately. But it was funny. I went to a game. I went to the game day before yesterday with a newer baseball fan. And I told them the story about how many playoff hits Trout has. And they're just like, oof. Yeah, which, oof, is another way you can describe the letting go of Perry Manassian. Like, again, it just comes back to Moreno, and the team will not get any better until either Moreno has a change of heart and decides to start spending money carefully this time, I should say, or he's just outright gone.
Yeah, my thing here is I think this seemed like it was a foregone conclusion because, in the offseason, the Angels needed a new manager and they hired Kurt Suzuki, but they only gave him a 1-year deal. And I'm feeling in the back of, everyone's mind was Perry Manassian's also basically on a 1-year deal. His contract was going to expire. So what you're telling me is you're going to hire Kurt Suzuki knowing that Manassian's not going to have his contract renewed, and the next guy is going to not renew Suzuki's contract and try to hire his own manager. Really not a good process here. And yeah, Manassian had a lot of questionable decisions throughout his tenure with the Angels. And, not the least of which, was the way he handled Ohtani, like you were saying, Alex. And it goes beyond just not re-signing him. It's the way they approached that trade deadline was really bizarre. I know they were like a fringe contender at the time, but, they decided to buy to show, hey, we care about winning. They decided to get some old friends back, Randall Grichuk, CJ Cron, trade for some pitchers. Matt Moore was on the roster already, but Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, Dominic Leone. They make all these deals, and then they played so badly in August that all those guys were on waivers and getting claimed for free. Hunter Renfroe was part of that debacle too, where it's later been revealed that had they traded Shohei Ohtani at the deadline, and I know that is like a sacrilegious thing to do. You traded Shohei Ohtani, but look, he was in a contract year. He's a generational talent. They could have gotten, from what it sounds like, they could have gotten Junior Caminero back. They could have gotten Jackson Merrill or Juan Soto from the Padres. Like, they had this opportunity. I know it sounds really dumb. You sell Shohei Ohtani on the open market, but I mean, think about what you could have gotten there. Instead, as expected, he walked to the other side of the state, or other side of SoCal, I guess, going to the Dodgers, and you lose him for nothing. That whole situation was handled poorly. I know he was not in charge when they signed Anthony Rendon, but again, that was a mess. And they're still, I think, figuring out what the heck is going on there, because I'm pretty sure he's not officially off their payroll. It was just, his tenure in Anaheim was a disaster. It seems like they spent money on things that weren't Shohei. I mean, they signed Tyler Anderson and Yusei Kikuchi, two solid left-handed pitchers, but again, these are guys who, you probably could have spent that money on trying to retain Shohei. But yeah, it was a mess, but I do wonder how much Artie Moreno was playing into this. Because I feel like we'll see, maybe if he gets another opportunity with a different team under different ownership, I could see him maybe having some more success. But yeah, I think it sounds like they had already planned on firing him or not bringing him back, and they just decided to wait 3 months to do so. And I think that's kind of unfair.
All right. Believe it or not, I'm going to defend the Los Angeles Angels today. I know it's hard to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been very difficult to do. The key problem with the Angels is development, right? You can point to the Pujols signing, Josh Hamilton signing, CJ Wilson signing, Anthony Rendon signing, the second Trout. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a knockout round goal. Eat my shorts, peasants. It was a penalty, so he's not exactly escaping those allegations. Regardless, the Angels' biggest problem is not that they waste money in free agency. Every team wastes money in free agency. You should look at the Braves' biggest contracts right now. Just look at them. They're ugly. Every team wastes money in free agency. Look at the Dodgers. Kyle Tucker's making $60 million to do what? So the Angels' issue, they cannot develop talent. Well, why is that, Splash? Their AA team and their AAA team are on polar ends of the run scoring spectrum. So if you are the Angels, you don't want to send your hitters to AA because it's going to rock their confidence. You don't want to send your hitters to AAA because they're playing on the moon. So they're going to have way too much confidence. They're going to get into bad habits because anything they hit into the outfield is a home run. Pitchers, you can't send them to AA because they're going to have a 1 ERA and you can't gauge anything on that. And you can't send them to AAA because they're going to have a 100 ERA and you can't judge anything on that. So for years now, the Angels are operating low A, high A, big leagues, essentially. Now you have guys in AA and they have a AA team and a AAA team. They have the Trash Pandas and they have the Salt Lake City Bees, I believe.
Yes.
They play in
Correct.
Salt Lake. That just makes team building borderline impossible. And for all of the errors the Angels major league staff has made on the field, off the field, for all of the errors Artie Moreno has made on the field, off the field, for all of the clown comments he's made. I mean, he's not off the hook, by the way. Oh, winning's not a priority for our fans. Yeah, eat rocks, buddy.
Yeah, no.
Perry, I wish you had stayed on a little bit longer so you could send another player to the Braves for no reason, but I don't think it's necessarily his fault. And some blame has to go to the situation the Angels farm system is in, that it's out of their control to some degree. It's similar to that of Colorado in that Well, Colorado, it's tough to pitch there, so it's hard to consistently develop pitchers for them. And their hitters, outside of Hunter Goodman, are generally worse on the road than they are at home at a considerable amount compared to the average team. So I think the Angels, while yes, they have given themselves, I'm going to use a poker analogy. They are not playing the hands correctly. They are bidding on the wrong hands. They are playing 7-2 offsuit as many times as they can. However, the Angels are also not being dealt aces. They are trying to build a team, trying to build a winning hand without the ability to have an ace, without an ability to have a trump card. The only thing in the last 15 years, basically since Trout got called up, the only thing they can say, yep, we did that, was getting Ohtani from Japan in the first place. That's it. Everything else has been very difficult for them to do, and they have to solve all of their problems with money, just like the Rockies have to solve their pitching problems with money, and no one wants to pitch in Colorado. There's a reason they're getting the Suganos and the Lorenzens of the world. And you look, sorry to bring this up, Mac, you look at Mike Hampton, his career gets ruined in Colorado. Why would any high-dollar pitcher ever want to go pitch in Colorado? If you're the Angels,
9-figure deal.
For the Denver schools, baby.
Yep, Denver school system.
I feel bad for the Angels. I feel bad that if you're drafted by the Angels, your career is taking a hit immediately because you don't have the adequate ways to develop. And unlike, say, Colorado, who has cheaped out on that side of things, or the A's who have cheaped out on that side of things, or other other organizations that will skimp on technology or will skimp on, hotels or living accommodations for their players and things like that are in their control. It's not exactly in the Los Angeles Angels' control where Rocket City is or where Salt Lake is on a map. And that is just an unfortunate, geography twist to this. So I have some sympathy, one iota of sympathy for Artie Moreno. Not much beyond that, because I think he runs a horrible organization and he is part of the problem, a big part of the problem, basically the entire problem, frankly. I feel bad for Perry. I feel bad for Trout and Joe Adele and Shanuel and Zach Neto and Jose Soriano. It just seems like a really cruddy organization to be in. And again, part of that is Perry's fault. Part of that is the whiffing at trade deadlines, whiffing at the draft. Remember, they drafted all those pitchers the one year, and they've gotten, 2 of them have pitched? Like, not many have been productive big leaguers at any point, let alone stars. And it's a tough situation to be in. I will grant them that. They have not done the best they could, but it's a tough situation for them to be in. That's my take.
So I have kind of a weird thing, because I agree with you 100% here. But that brings up an interesting question here. That comes down to a geography type question, but also a baseball rules question. We now know that it is like, just by being in these different stadiums, right, that is going to artificially inflate or deflate a player's stats. Here, that's just kind of how that makes sense, right? At what point do you take Major League Baseball and put it in a dome? And the reason why I bring that up here, right, because here's the thing. I don't want baseball to just be the dome. I think that's boring. I think that's not as much fun. But I also can't really deny how much of an impact your geography makes. Here, look at Coors Field. There's an entire effect for hitters called the Coors effect here that we use, whether it be for positive or for negative. Here, at the same point, like you said, no pitchers want to play in Colorado because of said Coors effect. You just brought up here that the Angels AA and AAA ones completely favor one side, which then makes both sides inadequate in what they do. You can't have offense and defense here on going through both AAA and AA because you're going to get such extreme ends of the spectrum. And that is, again, that's part of the issue here. But, and yeah, obviously you could just have better trainers. You could do better, like hire better people to develop your players. But at the same time though, yeah, 4,900 feet above sea, jeez. Oh my, that is not that far from Mile High. But at some point here, if we are looking at these players from a stat analytics standpoint here, any team, like there's no way to truly make it so that you could see whether or not a player is good because of a lot of these not good, but like truly see what their worth is while being in different conditions here. Because again, at this point now, you're getting to the area where in Los Angeles you can't develop anybody because you have players that are going to either have no confidence or too much confidence or have stats that don't matter because they won't tell the story here. Whereas let's take a look at the Dodgers, right? It seems like still every year they have more and more prospects. Why is that? Well, they do good at developing their talent here. And why do they do that? Well, again, they have all the money. Let's just be real here. But what are things that baseball itself can do to help get rid of that, shall we say, distraction? Like, the problem is there really isn't a fun way to answer that question, I think, because the only true ways to get rid of, say, a cores effect here or a marine layer, hint, hint, wing, wing, nudge, nudge, is to completely take the environment that you're in and regulate it to a T. That's the really only way to do it. And that sucks. Like, that's one of the coolest things. That's one of the reasons why I'm not that big a fan of basketball. It is the same, like, dark area, lit court. That's it. There's no outdoor. There's football. There are some domes here, but also I love seeing the outdoor stuff here too. Some of the best baseball stuff is outdoors. I mean, give credit where credit's due here. The Angels Stadium on the inside is beautiful. Don't look outside. Just please do not look outside. But the inside, especially with the waterfall, is fantastic. Go to the Mets Stadium here where they have all the decor. Go to the Marlins Stadium here. Do you really want to get rid of that just for stats? But that's the issue that you really have to kind of come to terms with. Here is there are just some teams that are going to be, for lack of a better word, screwed on some of these things.
Yeah. And we talk about, there's one thing that, will stay the same is, if you're able to track a player's data, like their analytics, then you should be able to sort of look past, in some ways, the altitude differences. I mean, look, I worked in indie ball for 2 years. 2 years in a league that was based in the Rocky Mountain region where everything was super high altitude. The league OPS was like 900. And it was so hard to evaluate, pitchers based on their sky high ERA. The average ERA was like
one game. I went to one game in that league, and the final score of that game had both teams in the double digits and one of them in the 20s.
Exactly. So
I found that this was not uncommon.
Oh no, it was very, very common. I mean, that's the thing is that those guys, obviously everyone was playing all at at altitude, so it made all right. It was sort of a level playing field. It was just harder for major league teams to scout them because all right, you have like a 1200 OPS hitting in mile high, who knows where, somewhere in Montana, but then you come down to altitude trying to play for a major league team or try to break camp, try to make a major league roster. It's going to be very, very difficult to make that transition. But and some of that has to do with what do your underlying metrics look like hitting or pitching at that level. I mean, look, that's the thing is I'm wondering how much are the Angels paying attention to that stuff, because when you have like Splash was saying, you got Salt Lake and Rocket City, like, are you paying attention to those things? Because that could be pretty helpful. I know there's a whole community of people who are scared of analytics, but like, this is a situation where it would be very helpful. And also, to your point about the drafting, I'm looking at the first round picks in the Paramanesian era. 2021, Sam Bachman. He's been marginal pitcher in the major leagues. Mostly he's a reliever. Zach Neto, good player. 2023 was Nolan Shanuel. He's not a bad player. They actually called him up like a month after he got drafted. All right, solid 723 OPS. 2024 Christian Moore, right, so far has a 630 OPS in the majors and recently had a really bad crash out in the minors. He's really struggling in the minors this year, guys. And then last year, Tyler Bremner, second overall pick. Again, it felt like sort of a similar issue to Shonawell, where it's like, hey, this guy could be in the majors quickly. You're not. I don't know if we're looking, any further into that, but I've heard from a lot of people who followed the draft way closer that Tyler Bremner was not the guy to pick second overall. So yeah, this whole situation has been botched. And as Splash is displaying, the year they took Sam Bachman 9th overall, they took all pitchers. What's the approach here, guys? Yeah, the organizational approach under Perry was not great.
Yeah, and I do want to throw it out there. The folks that rail against analytics, quote unquote analytics, I will talk to you more at the end. Analytics, there's a lot more than one number. So like Jaylen Brown was in the news. Shout out to Eddie. Jaylen Brown was in the news because some analyst somewhere said that Jaylen Brown was the 7th best Celtic, let alone the 7th best player in the NBA. And Jaylen Brown takes that, as he should, as slander, as that's not anti-analytics, but that's just an analyst not being good at his job, right? That's an analyst not understanding what he's looking at. That's one stat. It'd be like if I asked you who's the best hitter of all time, and you said, Ty Cobb, and I said, well, actually, he only had like 150 home runs, so he sucks. Well, that's one way to look at. That's one analytic. That's one stat you can look at. If I said, well, Barry Bonds is the best hitter ever, and you turn around and say, oh, actually, his batting average is 68 points lower than Ty Cobb's, you are making the same point. It's just a matter of how you frame what you're saying. So that I thought that's funny when people rail against analytics, because like analytics are different. Every team has a different model. Every team looks at it a little bit differently. Every team has their own WAR, whether you like it or not. They have their own calculation for WAR and why it matters, why it doesn't matter. And that's important to note for the Angels. And the Angels are probably on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of their development in the minor leagues. There are other teams that play in the Southern League. That's where Rocket City plays. That's the same as the they just moved Columbus Clingstones, the Braves AA team. They play in the Southern League. Biloxi, the Shuckers, where Jesus Mate plays, they're in the Southern League. I think the Nashville might be AAA. That's my
Nashville's AAA, yeah.
But regardless, there's 8 teams that play in the league. So the Rocket City Trash Pandas are not the only team subject to the lower scoring environment, a lower scoring environment than the other AA leagues. Although all the leagues are up this year, so good for them. So they're not the only team there. They're not the only team that plays in higher elevation in the Pacific Coast League. They all do. We are watching the effects of the A's moving from a cavernous coliseum to where the River Cats play. They're going to score more runs. And the ballpark in Las Vegas, where the Aviators play, they're going to score a ton of runs there. So thankfully they're not going to play there.
That series in Vegas was
that might as well be on the moon. So other teams have these issues, and they can adequately deal with the issues. I'm going to use the Braves as an example. The Braves have had plenty of good players who they have called up directly from AA and have been good big leaguers. Michael Harris, Spencer Schwellenbach. To give you 2 recent examples, 1 hitter, 1 pitcher, that's a really low scoring league. So you say, all right, we're going to take these numbers that Harris and Schwellenbach are putting up with a grain of salt. And we know that's not a exact what they would do at a neutral site, but we trust the development. We trust them to get better at the big league club and better when the scope of, what you're dealing with evens out. Other teams, the Angels, do not have this infrastructure. So that's the part that's on Artie. It's not Artie's fault. Well, maybe it is Artie's fault. I don't know how these minor league teams get put into places, but it's not exactly the new Angels general manager's fault that his affiliates are in AA and AAA. But it is Artie Moreno's fault that he isn't putting in enough money to have great minor league resources. Why do you think the Dodgers have 17 guys in the top 100 every year? They develop, they they invest in the minor leagues. For all the money they've invested in the major league team, they've also invested in the minor league teams. They invest in Oklahoma City. They invest in these lower leagues because they know this is what keeps the team winning games every year. They have the stars, yes, but they also have a huge influx of talent. This is going to be sacrilegious. It's okay that they traded Yordan Alvarez. They are not they have still won 3 World Series since Yordan got called up to the big leagues. Imagine that. Imagine a different team. If the Mets, Yankees, Braves, Cubs, if they traded Yordan Alvarez and watched the Astros win a World Series with him and he might win the MVP this year, they'd be freaking out. But the Dodgers, we might not have they have Ohtani, so you have a sort of a like for like in your DH spot. But we can say, yeah, we have guys that are somewhat comparable to Yordan who have played in the big leagues for us. Corey Seager won a World Series MVP for the Dodgers, went to a different team, of course. Cody Bellinger won an MVP with the Dodgers. He was the Dodgers farmhand. How many guys in their team? Clayton Kershaw is going to be a lifelong Dodger. He's a Hall of Famer. Max Muncy, off the scrap heap, he's an all-star, perennial, all-star level player. And it's just incredible what the Dodgers do when you look at the Angels and they haven't done any of that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that they have to take advantage of what they can have. I don't think they've made enough of an effort. It's really disappointing because, you've had Mike Trout his entire career. I know he's been banged up the last half decade or so, but still, you've had this generational talent, probably the best player of his generation. I think it's fair to say, at least the best center fielder, and he's been to 1 playoff series, and they won 0 games in that series. You had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same roster and didn't even make the playoffs, didn't even have a winning record. A lot to think about in Anaheim. I hope they do turn things around while Trout is still active. I would love to see them at least make the playoffs. And they've had some teams that have had expectations. I mean, I went to a game in 2023 in April where it looked like, hey, maybe this team could turn things around. Shohei almost hit for the cycle that day. That was cool. And then, it was just it's really been just a disappointment. But anyway, I think we've talked enough about the guys who've been dismissed. It's time for the question of the day. And I have that today. Second. There we go. Question of the day. Today, I decided to do something food related again. So here's my question to you guys.
I'm out.
You could have access to every dipping sauce in the world other than your favorite one, or only be able to use one sauce / condiment forever.
Okay, I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
What defines a condiment?
It could be, any sauce that a restaurant serves. It could be peanut butter. I think peanut butter is a condiment. Jelly.
What?
Peanut butter is a condiment, man. Come on.
Okay,
wait a minute.
That's a condiment.
Wait a minute.
Dude, peanut butter is a condiment, man. Come on.
What? No, wait a minute.
Peanut butter condiments.
Here, are you familiar with the ravioli theory? I think I've talked about this.
The ravioli theory. What?
Yeah. So everything is some sort of salad, soup, or sandwich.
Yeah.
So this is an extension of that, because I never in a million years would say, "Oh yeah, peanut butter is a condiment." If someone asked me, "What condiments do you have in your house?" peanut butter would not be on my list. I would not just say peanut butter.
Here's the thing, and maybe I'm clouded because one of my favorite restaurants in the world is a place called Hamburger America downtown. And they bring in regional, the chef / owner of the restaurant has these regional burgers he serves. And one of them was a burger that he discovered in Missouri that literally is a burger with peanut butter on it.
Yeah.
So I think in that situation, peanut butter is a condiment.
So here's how I see it, right? It depends on how the thing is used. Mm-hmm. That determines whether or not it is a condiment. You cannot look me in the face look me in the eyes with a straight face and say that peanut butter in a peanut butter sandwich is a condiment. However, you could say that if you are the psycho that would put peanut butter on a hot dog,
Okay.
That would be a condiment at that point.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's the thing is that if you're going to take your question here, you'd have to be this thing used as a condiment here. Like, at that point, no one is agreeing that peanut butter is a condiment.
I don't know, double base. I'm just saying, peanut butter is a condiment, man.
It's not, but anyway. Here's my question then to you. Here's how I feel it. Does like salt count as a condiment?
Yeah, I think salt is a condiment.
Okay, cool. Then that's my answers. I'm having salt as my condiment of choice forever. Nothing else. I'm okay with this.
Okay,
and let's see. But I'm still able to have peanut butter sandwiches because it's not a condiment in that case.
Okay, fine. Splash, what's your take on this?
I am at an entire loss of words, and I love scrolling through this cube rule every once in a while.
It's a quiche.
Yeah, like a falafel wrapped with sushi. Enchiladas.
I've been trying so hard not to laugh at this, like while I was trying to give my answer.
Yeah, soup in a bread bowl is
quiche. Honestly, I can get behind that.
Like a corn dog is a calzone. Okay.
Yeah. No, the calzone is the area where Raleigh hit his 60th home run.
Bazinga. Okay. So, peanut butter, I think, can be considered a topping. I would call it a butter. It is a nut spread, if you will. Word to Jazz Chisholm.
Okay.
Oh,
that took me a second.
So I would not classify it as a condiment.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, second, that's a brutal conversation because I would have to give up Chick-fil-A sauce, my dearest beloved that I put on everything, or only be able to eat Chick-fil-A sauce and wouldn't be able to have any other thing. You know what? I think I would end up giving up Chick-fil-A sauce so I can have the rest of the spectrum, if you will.
I think yeah. So I mean, Chick-fil-A sauce is among my favorite condiments too, but I think I would give it up in this case just because, I mean, there's so many things that whether it's hot sauce or barbecue sauce, or I'm not a huge ketchup, like straight up ketchup guy, but like, ketchup mixed in with something else. It's just, I feel like my family at least uses those things pretty frequently when we cook. So yeah, I'm going to have to punt away, unfortunately, my Chick-fil-A sauce or my Shack sauce, which it's normally a toss-up there.
For me, there is no sauce. It is just other things.
XYZ Balling, I love that submission of Russian dressing there because I'm a New Yorker. The Reuben is basically made by that Russian dressing. Unless you go down to Katz's Deli and get it with pastrami, the Russian dressing is nice. But if you're getting it with corned beef, you 100% need the Russian dressing. Guys, did you know that this is also a food podcast?
Guys, I'd like to walk away from this. Thank you very much for having.
Instead of losses above replacement, locks above replacement.
Ooh, I mean, man, get my family going on locks, man. That's a staple. Anyways, why don't we roll into everyone's favorite segment of the week? Let's go to trivia. Splash, you were the winner last week, so take it away.
All right, let's do the graphic. I hear the TV losing its mind in the other room. I think someone scored.
I did hear something about the Ronaldo thing that a goal got nullified because his arm was out of bounds.
Oh, Gonzalo Ramos scored in the 94th minute. Portugal's up 2-1. Yeah. This is pointless unless you're listening to it live. All right, we have the Bid McPhee game, fellas. Are you ready?
Yeah, 3.5.
Yes. 3.5.
Yes.
Why is it 3.5?
Bazinga! Ha, got him!
Yeah,
we're not actually.
When you didn't bring up a billion images on the bottom thing, I'm like, okay, we're not doing this today.
Okay.
All right. Please name the player with the most all-star selections for each team. First to 16 names wins. This is last name only. Please. So do we understand the rules?
Do we go
here?
one by one?
Yes, you go one by one. You alternate. Please pick a number between 1 and 25. I'm looking for a pen. Please hold.
I have to go 24. I'm legally obligated.
All right. Mac, please choose a number between 1 and 25.
16.
All right. The answer is 8. So Mac, you may begin. I really need something to write on.
So I'm just doing last names.
Yes, so you can get multiple points if possible.
All right, Maze.
All right. The most for an individual team. Maze will give you the San Francisco Giants. So Mac, you lead 1-0.
Great.
All right, I'm gonna take what I think is an easy one. I'm not 100%, but it just makes sense. Gonna go Suzuki.
Suzuki.
I don't know.
Correct. One of two Mariners with 10.
Okay.
All right.
Wait. So what about the franchises where there's a tie?
First one to name any of the group wins.
Okay. So fair. Aaron.
Aaron. That'd be correct. 21 for the Braves. Which I actually think it's more, but he made it 21 straight years.
Well, there used to be multiple All-Star games in seasons, so
yes. All right, Alex.
All right, I'm gonna go Jones.
Jones
for what team?
That would be a brick.
Mac. Yeah, I don't know which Jones were you going
I was thinking of a mix between Andrew and Jones and Chipper Jones.
Both of whom would be whacked by Henry Aaron.
By Henry.
Yeah, they'd be like that sometimes.
All right, Mac.
Musial.
Stan the man. That is 21 for the Cardinals.
Let's go.
21 years as an All-Star. All right, Alex.
Okay. Let's go. Because now I'm realizing some of the folly of what I have done, and that's okay. Oh, wait, no.
Unless you can pull a double.
Are there doubles in this?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Great. All right, cool. Cool. Then let's go with Jeter.
Jeter.
Mm-hmm.
That would be incorrect, sir.
Darn.
All right, Mac. You lead 3-1.
Gehrig?
That would be incorrect.
I was about to say, because I'm trying to remember when the All-Star game
1933.
33, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, then obviously Gehrig couldn't have made it.
Yeah.
All right.
I realized I messed
Alex?
up. Oh,
yeah. Let's go to I'm trying to go to some of the other franchises and just be like, okay, who is the guy from these teams? And there's a few. Okay, I don't think this is correct, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Trout.
Mike Trout. That is correct. 11.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
Okay.
I realized my mistake with the Yankees. Mantle.
Mantle is correct. 16.
Yeah. Didn't say. That's
gotcha.
Right. Alex.
All right, back to me then. Houston, Texas. Here. Okay. Palmeiro.
That would be incorrect, sir.
He only made 4 in his career.
I'm just going with what are the first players' names that come to my mind with some of these teams. Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Seaver.
Seaver is correct. 9 for the Metropolitans.
Nice.
I know Wright had 7.
5.
So I have 5, you said?
Yes. You are on the list.
Okay. I don't. Well, okay. Hold on. Try. Gwen.
He has to be, right?
If I lost my tab, that'd be great. Tony Gwynn 15 times.
Yep. Okay. Glad I finally got that one.
Mac.
Ripken,
a whopping 19 times.
Yep.
Yeah, that one was a slam dunk.
You've taken the top 4.
Okay. Let's go with. Okay, I'm going I'm going team by team. Walker.
Walker would be incorrect, sir.
Darn.
Okay. Lost track of what team I was about to do. Oh, Yount.
Yount would be incorrect. He only made three All-Star games.
He only made 3 All-Star games? Get out.
Yeah. 2-time MVP, 3-time All-Star.
Don't worry, Mac. I'm probably about to throw here with my next guess.
And by the way, one of the MVPs, he didn't even make the All-Star game.
Oh.
Nonsense.
Like Kirk Gibson never made an All-Star game.
That's correct. Insane. All right. I'm gonna go Bichette.
Bichette would be incorrect.
Darn.
Okay. The Brewers one's gonna bother me. Brett.
George Brett made 13 of them. That is correct. Mac leads 7-3.
7-3. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one I was thinking of here. Ooh, I just lost his name. Kiner.
Kiner is not correct.
Dang.
Okay. Clemente.
That is correct. That is 8 for Mac.
I did not think he.
How many did Clemente make?
12.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
wow.
what I thought.
A lot more than I thought.
Yes.
Okay. Larkin
would be incorrect.
Okay. Braun?
Ryan Braun would be correct. He is one of the 3 Brewers with 5.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't remember if he had made more than that.
All right. Mac leads 9-3.
Tell me Ryan Braun made more All-Star games than Robin Yount. Man,
yes, by
that's
2.
Insane.
That's
okay. The problem I'm having is like with some of these players, like they were not with, like there's not a whole lot of amazing players that stayed on certain teams long enough.
Yeah.
To be, and that's kind of where I'm like running into some issues here.
Therein lies the difficulty.
Okay, I'm gonna do one because I think this. I'm not gonna say this is a double, but I think this could work. I'm gonna go Crawford.
Ooh.
It's 1. Tampa Bay Rays. Carl Crawford.
That's what I was thinking of. Crawford. Let's go.
Wait, how many did you make? 4?
4.
4.
Two-way tie with 4.
Okay.
Right.
Schmidt.
That would be Mike Schmidt would be correct with 12 for the Phillies. Okay. Mac leads 10-4.
Can I get a clarification on something from earlier? Sure. Here, you said that Sam Musial was correct.
Yes, usual 21 for the Cardinals.
Okay, that gets rid of another thought that I had. So okay,
did they score in the 103rd minute? They might have scored. All right, continue.
Yeah. What about? Okay, I'm going with this purely because I cannot. I think this might do it. Arenado?
They scored in the 103rd minute. That's crazy. Arenado would be correct. He is one of 2 Rockies with 5.
All right. Well, okay. That knocks out the next name I was going to say. Okay. I'm going to take a risk here. Johnson.
Ooh. That would not be correct.
Okay.
That
would be it.
That's a. Gonzalez.
I don't think so.
Is not correct.
Okay. You're gonna take another risk here.
We're all taking risks at this point.
I'm feeling this team has a low number. Stanton.
Stanton is one of 2 Marlins with 4.
Okay, I figured he'd be one of them.
All right, Mac, you're up to 11.
All right.
What am I at? Like 3?
5.
Okay, not too far off. All right, I'm only down by 6. We can do this. Let's
just gotta get on a heater right now.
Just like Squidward is here
with a 103rd minute equalizer.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, come on now.
Okay, let's. Okay. Well, Fingers.
Fingers is not correct. He didn't make as many as he thought he would.
Darn.
Okay.
I'll give you each one more guess, and then I can pop the teams up if you'd like.
That'd be
the remaining teams.
Snyder?
Duke of Earl would not be correct.
Ah.
Okay.
All right, Alex.
Let's go to No, I don't think he would have made it that many times. Padres are already taken. If we go into this, Banks.
That would be correct. It's
Okay.
11.
I was kind of hung up on the Cubs one.
All right. Here is the list.
I'm assuming you've blurred out all the.
There we go.
Okay.
Teams and years for you.
Oh, I see how you're doing this now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This helps a lot that it tells you what years they played.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yes.
Altuve,
and they rescinded the goal. By the way.
Oh my gosh! Really?
God,
Altuve is correct. Was that Mac guessing or Alex guessing?
That was me.
Okay. Mac leads 12-6.
Okay. I'll go Aparicio.
Aparicio.
Nope.
I think that's how you spell it. That would be incorrect, sir.
Darn.
Okay. I'll go Yastrzemski.
Yes, for 18. So you lead 13-6. And yes, for those watching, I can spell Yastrzemski. I just did not feel like spelling it today.
That's fair.
You can spell it to the tune of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go. Oh wait. Okay. Kershaw.
Kershaw would be next guess. Correct. Alex is up to 7.
All right. Gonna go with Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt would be correct. 6 for the Diamondbacks. You are up to 14.
So I'm 2 away from victory.
Yes.
Yep.
Can you pull a double?
So I have left Tigers, Reds, Twins, White Sox, Guardians, Blue Jays, and Expos / Nationals. Okay. Trying to figure out where do I want to try and lock in at. Let's go Puckett.
Kirby Puckett would be incorrect.
All right. K-Line.
K-Line for the
yeah
is correct for 15.
All right, for 15.
Nice. All right, Alex.
So I got one more.
Yeah, let's. Okay, yeah, I'm in trouble here. I've already basically lost trying to.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You gotta say. Okay.
Just a little bit.
I legitimately can't. Did I say Morgan already for the Reds? I feel like I did.
No. Would you like to say it?
Morgan. Yeah, Morgan,
that would be incorrect, sir.
No. All right. I'll finish up. I'll go with Rodriguez.
Rodriguez for Pudge.
Oh,
the Rangers.
I was thinking of the wrong Rodriguez.
And that is a W for McCorkle. Good job. I will try to finish this out for you all. That'd be Pete, not Pete Rose.
Dang.
What? Okay. Tony Perez? No. Oh, Johnny Bench.
Johnny Bench, yeah.
Twins, Rod Carew, White Sox, Nelly Fox, Mariners, the other Mariner, Ken Griffey Jr.
And obviously
Athletics, Jose Canseco? No.
Didn't I say Canseco?
No. Boudreaux for the Redacteds. And
yeah, I wasn't getting
George
that
Bell.
one.
No. Dave Steve.
That's crazy that Steve has it for the Jays.
Gary Carter.
Yeah, Gary Carter and Dawson, right?
No, it is not Dawson.
Not Dawson. Tim Raines, maybe.
Yes, Tim Raines.
Yeah, and then
Higuera. No.
That's the thing. Is like the Brewers. It's tough. Like, but then the Rockies. I know is Helton.
Marlins.
Cabrera for the Marlins.
Yes.
And then,
Longoria.
Really? I would say
Longoria. It could be Longo for.
Yeah, it's
Price.
Yeah, Longoria only made 3.
Oh wow.
Brewers and so we're missing 1 Guardian, 1 A, and 2 Brewers.
Al Rosen for the Guardians?
I don't think so.
Nah.
No.
But yeah, it's.
Bob Feller.
Yeah. Yeah.
A's Dave Stewart. It's not.
Oh, is it Eckersley maybe?
Did he pitch that long?
He did, but I guess not.
No.
The Brewers, it could be Molitor. I mean,
I don't. Okay, there you go.
It was
79 to 85. What a weird time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like maybe that's. I mean, it could be Fingers. I mean, it's.
I don't think so.
Nah.
Yeah, pretty sure I said Fingers. Yeah.
Cecil Cooper, I think.
Cooper. Yes. All right. Last one as a team.
Okay. It's Athletics.
Yeah. Is that Mark McGuire? Yes.
Oh my god.
Good job.
Good job, everybody. I forgot he left in 97.
Boys.
I got traded in 97. Good job, everyone. Mac wins. Good job.
Thank you. Slash. Very appropriate because the All-Star rosters are being revealed on Saturday. So everyone will spend their evening on 4th of July not just watching fireworks, but also watching the All-Star game rosters be revealed. That includes the starters. Although All-Star game All-Star game voting for the starters did close today. Anyways, thank you, Splash, for that. Looks like I will be doing trivia next week. Anyway,
see, that's my real strategy. I lose at trivia so I don't give myself extra work. So this is how it works.
I mean, I get it.
If you don't mind, I would like to go first for my time to myself.
Yeah, sure. All right. Yes, Splash. Moment to ourselves. All right. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1. Begin.
Hello, folks. Usually I don't script these, but this is something of a hobby horse for me, so it's scripted. The number is 123,930. That is the minimum number of outs in an MLB season, given that all 30 teams complete their 162 games. 2,430 games total, 17 half innings per game, 3 outs per half inning, 123,930 outs. I will look at this number from 2 perspectives, one from former MLB player Jeff Fry and one from content creator Ben Verlander. Jeff Fry views this number as a way to find the worst in baseball. Ben Verlander views this number as a way to find the best in baseball. Jeff Fry bemoans the hitter who can't put the ball in play, the base runner who has a mental lapse, and any other stupid things a batter runner can do. Ben Verlander praises the pitcher who throws 100, or the fielder who makes a 5-star catch, or the effective relay throw to gun down a run. Nowadays, Jeff Fry can access any of those 123,930 outs and proclaim that baseball has gotten worse as a hitter whiffs on a curveball in the dirt. Ben Verlander can access the same 123,930 outs and proclaim the game is better as a pitcher twirls in a 3,000 RPM curveball to generate a whiff. That is the same out viewed through 2 different lenses. And that is one thing that I have such great issue with modern baseball coverage, in that Jeff Fry, or former players, just as a group, there is more baseball at the major league level played today than there was 30 years ago. There's more teams. There's more games than there were 6 years ago. Every team plays 162 games as opposed to in previous generations, there's 154. There's 30 teams, and you can watch every single game, unless they're blacked out in your market, ironically enough. But if you have that TV package for your market and you have MLB TV, you can watch every single game. 30 years ago, you couldn't do that. So 30 years ago, if Jeff Fry went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, the only people that would know would be the people reading the newspaper or the people at the stadium or the people who lived in Boston, basically. So if I'm in Atlanta, I don't know that Jeff Fry went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. And I don't know how those strikeouts happened. They could be the 12 of the worst swings you've ever seen, or they could be, balls that bounce to the plate that the umpire was like, oh yeah, that's a strike, get out of here. Whatever it may be, there's no context. So when former players bemoan modern baseball, and they poke at these little nuances and they say, oh, well, this strikeout wouldn't have happened in your generation. Yes, it did. It happened plenty of times. There were plenty of strike threes. How do you think Nolan Ryan struck out 5,714 guys? Just curious. How do you think he struck out 5,700 guys? How do you think Randy Johnson struck out 4,800 guys? Greg Maddux struck out 3,300 guys, and strikeouts weren't even his thing. Fergie Jenkins struck out 3,000 batters. Walter Johnson, 100 years ago, struck out 3,500 batters. Like, what are we doing, folks? Strikeouts have always been a part of the game. There have always been defensive lapses. There's a reason we remember 118 years later, Merkel's boner. Consider that. We have no video evidence of that. No photographic, maybe a little bit of photographic evidence, but not during the game. We don't, just the 118 years of history, we can remember that because it was a dumb play. It was a bad play. It was a boner in this case. That happened reasonably often. That's not the only time ever that a player made a mistake. We remember these things. The behind the bag, the ball gets through Buckner. How many times has a first baseman made an error like that? We remember it because it's in the World Series and we all can see the highlight of it. That's happened plenty of times. There's booted ground balls all the time. Look at any old like baseball like game log. There's a ton of errors. There's a ton of errors. I did the History of the World Series podcast. I listened through all those. And one of the co-hosts was like, every time you hear an error, take a drink. And early on, you could get super hammered from the early like 1912 World Series. You could get hammered listening to that podcast if you took them up on their offer. Nowadays, there's more hits and whatnot. And modern baseball, you can find what you like. You can find what you dislike. I encourage you, if you are a skeptic of modern baseball, which you're probably not listening to this podcast, but maybe, I don't know. If you're a skeptic of modern baseball, you have 30 different teams you can watch to try to find some baseball that you want to watch. If you like seeing high contact, put the ball in play, run the base as well, good pitching, watch the Brewers, watch the Rays. If you want to watch ball go long way, strikeouts are okay, ball will go a long way, watch the White Sox. Heck, watch the Cardinals. They are a really fun team. They can't pitch, but they are a really fun team. So you can find what you like. And unfortunately, some in the community find what they dislike. Jeff Fry, Mauricio Dubon laid down a perfect bunt yesterday. Why didn't you post about that? Why don't you post about, Nasim Nunez, who has stolen a bunch of bags for the Nationals? The Nationals are such a fun team. James Wood hits a bunch of dingers. Luis Garcia's on a hot streak. But no, you want to point out the bad in baseball. You want to point out the guys that are hitting, 200. Find what you like. There's, like I said, 2,430 games of this stuff. You can find what you like. This is no different than going on like a highlight reel, going on YouTube and typing in Tom Brady interceptions, and then you show that, yeah, Tom Brady really sucked. Look at how many interceptions he threw, or Peyton Manning, or Aaron Rodgers, or whomever. Like, how many times did Tony Gwynn make an out? A lot. How many times did Tony Gwynn strike out? Not a ton, but he struck out. Like, strikeout rate, even in Jeff Fry's era, was higher than it was in Yogi Berra's era. Or Joe Sewell struck out 100 times in his entire career. He had a year, he had 699 plate appearances. He had 4 strikeouts. 4! Guys regularly strike out 4 or even 5 times a game now. So what's the best baseball for you? Is it the one you played? Because clearly that baseball, in the ways you are comparing modern baseball to that baseball is worse than it was 50 years ago. I don't get it. I truly do not understand. Find what you want to watch, please. Find something enjoyable. Stop crapping on our sport.
Yeah, it's really just beyond me at this point how these people, they play the sport their whole lives basically, and now at this point they all, I don't know the last time I heard one of these players talk about how much they love the sport these days. Now it's always, oh, back in my day, XYZ, blah blah blah. Yeah, so I share your sentiment there. Unfortunately, there are far too many of those types of former players than there are of those who actually promote the game, enjoy it. So yeah,
I do want to say, like, for those that don't enjoy the 3 true outcome style of baseball, just think about it from a different perspective. If you like UFC or you like boxing or you like other one-on-one sports, I'm not sure why you wouldn't like baseball from a 3 true outcome perspective. That's like quintessential baseball is the batter pitcher interaction. The one that always pops to mind is Soto versus Greinke in the World Series. It's Soto does his little shuffle. Greinke doesn't like it. He throws inside. Okay, that's like a Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer. That's like peak baseball right there. I don't remember how the plate appearance ended. It doesn't matter.
I remember that though.
I think he struck out, but that's irrelevant. That's what quintessential baseball is. It's players making adjustments, pitchers making adjustments, batters making adjustments, pitchers standing a different place in the rubber, moving their arm angle a little bit. Batters, that the classic Pete Rose, you keep your stance, but you move up in the box, back in the box, forward in the box.
Yeah, exactly. It's
you turn you tilt your body a different way, but like that's the nuance of baseball that I happen to enjoy, and I think a lot of like these older fans would enjoy. But if you just boil it down to more homers, more strikeouts, bad. Yeah, but
it's kind of lazy analysis of
and
really. It's
I'm just curious why Nolan Ryan gets put on a pedestal when he was the most likely player in the history of baseball to make sure a 3 true outcome happened with the strikeouts.
Literally, yeah.
Like 8,600 batters either struck out or walked. But he's God. He's the best pitcher of whatever.
Never won a Cy Young though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn never won an MVP. War says he should have won at least one.
I will say real quick here, just along the same kind of line here, I want to bring up a quote that is used at the beginning of the movie Moneyball. Here, it is unbelievable how much you don't know about the game you've been playing all your life. Mm-hmm. And that quote is from Mickey Mantle. That's part of a longer transcript. But the same kind of idea, right? The game is constantly evolving to the point where the game that was played back in the 50s, 60s, 70s does not even remotely look like the game that is played now in the year of our Lord 2026. Here, and that's something that means that you can't just keep saying the same things and have it always be true anymore. They're letting go of new knowledge here or disregarding new knowledge is a way that you can just guarantee that you are not going to evolve and you're not going to succeed. I will say you gotta be careful, you gotta pick and choose a little bit, but there are like just outright saying new stat bad here is the way that you are going to outright yourself to not knowing ball anymore.
Yeah. We're trying to grow the game, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah, and the game is so popular nowadays. Look, so England played the DR Congo yesterday in Atlanta. So England fans came to the Braves game after the game, and they were chanting for Michael Harris. They had all sorts of fun. That is a subset of the population on Earth that doesn't consume baseball, but they had a ton of fun at the ballpark yesterday. And I don't think gatekeeping's not cool. There's so many avenues. There's so many reasons to like baseball. Just like there's so many reasons to like football, right? Like college football, for example, 20 years ago, you could watch triple option, Navy, Army, Georgia Tech. You could watch the air raid, the Mike Leach teams, rest in peace, Hawaii. Like they're very different ways to skin a mule deer. Baseball, admittedly, is semi-homogenous, but again, you can get an MLB TV subscription for the 29 teams or so that aren't in your market, or you can watch your team in your local market. You can find one that you like. You can find one with players you like. You can find one with pitchers you like. You can find one that, I don't know, you want to find the team that steals the most bases, you can do that. If you want to find the team that strikes out the least, you can do that. There's plenty of good baseball on nowadays. Yeah, there's plenty of bad baseball, but like I said, there's 123,000 chances for there to be bad baseball, if not more, because that doesn't count like the Soto play in the outfield the other day. Yeah, that's going to go make the rounds on Twitter. You know what's not going to make the rounds? What if, like, the fear, right, as a thrower, Judge or Jordan Walker or Acuna, how many guys don't take the extra base because they know that man standing in right field, at least when he's healthy, at Ronald and at Aaron Judge? It'd be no different. The most elegant play was watching Roberto Clemente field right field. Exactly. A lot of the value Clemente had was that everyone knew he was Roberto Clemente and he was going to throw you out if you tried to go to second base. So that cat and mouse was a integral part of watching the Pirates in the 60s and 70s, or the 50s and 60s, or watching Larry Walker with the Rockies and Expos, or watching old Vladdy, or watching my guy Jesse Barfield. Like that's an integral piece of information that you just lose with the context. It's such a bad play. Everyone makes bad plays. The guy with the most strikeouts is in the Hall of Fame.
It's true. Yeah.
And until it's an active guy, that will be true.
Yeah. the same thing as well. I love that baseball can be so inclusive, and if I may say, thank the pitch clock for that, because the pitch clock turning the games from being 3-4 hour games to 2, maybe 3 hour games made the game more inclusive for us.
I wholeheartedly agree there. All right, Alex, do you want to go next? Or
yeah, I got this.
All right, hang on, let me pull up. Where'd my stopwatch go? All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm going to split mine into 2 smaller talks here. The first of which actually goes along with what we were just talking about with sports being inclusive. I have a very good friend of mine. I will leave them nameless here. But they've started to get into sports more with the World Cup. And we were having conversations about stuff, and they just went, oh, God, am I becoming a sports fan? And I just went, one of us. No, but... it's really honestly helped my bond with this friend of mine. And I love the fact that this is something that sports can do. Sports has the very unique ability of bringing people together while keeping a set of differences that you can work around. Here, politics, a lot harder to do that here. But say, like, a Yankee fan and a Red Sox fan, theoretically, can go and watch a game at a bar. It may not always be pretty, but it's probably not going to result in someone getting arrested 9 times out of 10 here. Or you could have a, say, for the lack of a better term, this podcast being proof of a Mets fan and a Braves fan can work together here on this. So that's one of the things I love so much about sports here. The second thing I want to briefly talk about, I'm very proud of myself for what I've been doing baseball-wise. Here, I've been playing now 2 days a week here, and for the first time in years, I actually ran for myself in one of the games. Normally what happens is I get on first base because I have a batting average in these games of around 900. That's not a joke either. I went 3 straight weeks without not getting on base in a game. But for those of you that know, I've always had problems with weights, my knees specifically. And so actually getting to run here the bases, there was so much pride because that was years and years and years of work to get me to be able to be in physically enough shape to run the bases. And for those of you that maybe have not been in that position before, and you may just think, okay, it doesn't really matter here on this, or you may just think like, okay, whatever, it's running the bases. Lose that ability for a while and see how good it feels to have it come back. That's the main thing that I was feeling with, and that was where that sense of pride came back from here. So I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm proud of myself for the progress I've come. This last weekend I think it was 9 for 12. So Jeff Fry, I know you're having fun with that.
Nine for 12. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like the Cardinals, what they're doing to the Braves bullpen right now. Holy
8 singles and a double.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Cardinals are doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, 9 for 12 is pretty good. I also agree with your point about sports, man. I mean, it's funny because Splash and I literally root for rival teams in every sport. It's somehow we coexist and everything.
We've done a podcast now for 6 years.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
Alex, you and I are in the Pac-12 again.
Yay!
I mean, my childhood best friend is
hate your team again.
My childhood best friend is a Yankee fan, so like, you know, I still hang out with him very frequently. That's who I watched the World Cup with last night. We've coexisted for over 20 years somehow. I tolerate it. All right, can someone count me down?
Yep. All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
I'm going to talk about another New York sports departure. Mitchell Robinson is gone. Signed with the Celtics. Kind of hurt my soul. Seeing that's the team that he opted to sign with. But this was a guy who was literally here from, you know, the worst of the worst. You know, 2018, 2019 teams that routinely were losing 60 games or so, over 60 games, barely winning 20 games. I really appreciate all these years he put into this roster. 8 years he was on the Knicks. Like I said, he literally saw them from being like one of the worst teams in the league all the way to a championship. So he'll never be forgotten in New York. It's a bit disappointing. He's still, he's going to be playing in Boston, for a rival team. But I want to take a moment to appreciate what he did. Great rebounder, great defender. His free throws were excruciating, but when he made it, nothing was celebrated more at Madison Square Garden or wherever the Knicks were playing than when Mitchell Robinson would hit a free throw. So I'll miss the pain and agony of watching him shoot free throws, but also celebrating when he made those free throws. I hope Mitch does well when he faces every team that isn't the Knicks. I think everyone in New York is super appreciative of these 8 years. It hurts that it had to end this way, but at least he went out on top.
He's the reason why I hated playing the Knicks.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It wasn't Brunson. It wasn't it wasn't Cat. It was that Mitchell Robinson would take Jared Allen and Evan Mobley together and stuff them in a locker every single game.
He's a menace. Ask Dyson Daniels about that one. Anyway,
how do you feel about the new free throw rule they're trying to institute?
I'm not really sure because I know they do similar thing in college where there's some fouls where you only get one free throw and then if you make it you get a second free throw. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think a single free throw is kind of goofy, just but I think they should do something similar in college where all right, you get one free throw. If you make it, you get to choose second free throw. If you miss it, that's that.
I like it from a speeds up the game aspect, but I wouldn't like it in terms of I use SGA as an example. If he gets fouled on a 3-pointer and makes one free throw, he gets 3 points. I don't love that.
I don't love that. No, I do not.
I can appreciate the speeding up the game aspect.
I agree.
And it used to be even slower. They used to be 3 to make 2 in the 70s.
Yeah.
NBA.
Yeah.
I don't like the power the pressure that would come from that here, that let's say late in the game here you have one free throw to make, and if you make it your team takes the lead. You don't, your team loses right then and there. The fact that the game could legitimately just come down to a free throw like that is insane.
The NBA said it would be same rules as always in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, last 2 minutes I think would be different. Luckily,
but gotcha. they had the same thought.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept though. But anyways, that'll do it for us today. Like I said earlier, hope you guys all have a great 4th of July weekend. Hope you all get to celebrate. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Follow Splash at Mr. Splash 2019. Follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. Follow myself at Mathias _A_K, and follow us collectively at LAR_baseball. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that like button. Leave a comment. Maybe you disagree with everything we said today. Let us know. Thank you for disagreeing. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows. Leave us a 5-star review. But yeah, for all of us LAR, thank you all for listening. Stay safe. I hope to see you all real soon. Thank you.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! It's a home run!